From paragraph 2, you deal with an incident from the night of the 15th of April 2022. You see that?
I do see it, Advocate.
And you narrate what transpired on that evening until paragraph 5. Can you take the commissioners through your part of the statement from paragraph 2 to paragraph 5? You may restate it in your own words, and where necessary, you may read certain parts of your statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate. On the evening of 15 April 2022, I was home with my son when I received a phone call around 9 o'clock, 2100 hours, multiple phone calls from both normal and over WhatsApp from one Kobus Janse van Rensburg, whom is the owner of Ghost Guard Security situated in Springs, informing me that he had an operation planned for that evening and that he required my assistance in knocking the house of a suspect suspected of a warehouse invasion and robbery in Brakpan, and that he has law enforcement members assisting him. Paragraph 3. I informed him that I am unable to assist as I'm looking after my son, as my wife is at hospital with my younger son who was ill. Eventually I gave in and he forwarded me via WhatsApp a pin location for a meeting up and operational briefing. This location was shared on a WhatsApp group we, the team that was supposed to apprehend the suspect, used for stock recoveries. The pin location provided by Kobus Janse van Rensburg took me to Sally's village in Brakpan, where some SAPS, EMPD, and private security members waited for us. Upon my arrival, I found Jaco Hanekom, a SAPS informer of ill repute, Viandre Pretorius, a person that frequently presents himself as a SAPS member, Constable John Marie Extian from North East Rand Flying Squad, Constable Zander Fritz, Reservist Constable, from SAPS Brakpan, with 2 SAPS Brakpan officers unknown to me. Present were also EMPD officers Kersha Lee Stolz, Aiden McKenzie, Etienne van der Walt from Titan Security, and other members whom I cannot identify.
Now, you say after you all arrived at the location to which you were directed, there was a briefing given to you collectively. Can you deal with that briefing?
Commissioners, if I may, before the briefing commenced, I did ask Kobus to proceed with me to go and buy cold drinks first before we deploy or brief. When myself and Kobus were alone, as per my statement, we went to the convenience store down the road at a BP in Springs Road. At this stage, I told Kobus I'm uncomfortable with the members present to assist us as they are dangerous. Kobus told me to relax as the intel is solid and that the intel was verified by Jaco Hanekom, which made me more uncomfortable. But we went back to the briefing location at 2nd Road Springs and Sally's Road. Springs Road, sorry, my apologies, and Sally's Village. The briefing commenced.
Apologies, Witness D. Witness D, before you continue, my apologies. Could you try and move closer, either closer to your computer or pull it towards you? Sometimes you are less audible than when you start. I don't know whether it's because you move away. That's much better, thank you. But we hear you better now. You may continue.
My apologies again, Advocate. Okay.
It's quite an honor. Thank you, Witness C.
Shortly after arriving, Kobus and Hanekom briefed the teams and we proceeded to the suspect's location in Crocodile Road, Sally's Village in Brakpan. I was alone in my vehicle, a black marked Guardian Security Ford Ranger, and I proceeded to park opposite the property. That was the target property. Present at the premises was the members mentioned, myself and Constable Extian from Highway or Flying Squad, my apologies, and Aiden McKenzie from EMPD. Proceeded to a garage or outside building, outside or just off the main house. And we proceeded to gain entry to an outside room. We found a couple, a male, female, and a baby, infant baby. Constable Extian identified herself and the reason for our intrusion and started asking them about the suspect and his movements, etc. Shortly after this, we received communication that the main team had located the suspect in the main house. We left the family in the outside room and proceeded to the main house and gained access to the house through the kitchen door. On my way to the main house, I spotted a white 4-ton truck with a specific number plate that had been used in the warehouse robbery, which is the vehicle that led us to this particular address. As I entered the house from the kitchen door, I found Fritz, that is Zander Fritz, Constable Zander Fritz, Viandre Pretorius, Kershaw Lee Stolz, Aiden McKenzie was with us, obviously, Kobus, and some EMPD officers I cannot identify, Jaco Hanekom, Etienne van der Walt, present, and then the two SAPS, unknown SAPS officers from Brakpan. And a unknown male who was reported to be the suspect. The unknown male, when questioned, admitted that he was involved in the invasion and the robbery of the warehouse. He claimed, however, that all he did was transport of the stolen property. The suspect further requested that we not hurt him, as he had 500,000 rand in the house in cash, which he tried to bribe us with, or the officers with. After the suspect mentioned the cash, the two unknown members from Brakpan SAPS and Viandre Pretorius then pushed the man into the second bedroom and closed the door behind them. Everyone else, including myself, searched the rest of the house. In the main bedroom, the EMPD officers, unknown to me, found case dockets where the suspect is identified as a suspect in the particular crime or is otherwise mentioned. Some SAPS forensic bags, as well as a number of live ammunition rounds, was found. The other rooms contained various tools or garden tools or welding equipment. I then went into the bedroom where the suspect had been taken to by the Brakpan SAPS members with Viandre Pretorius. I noticed Viandre Pretorius, the suspect, with a plastic bag with the two SAPS Brakpan members assisting him from the right-hand side of the double bed. Tubing is where a plastic bag gets placed over a person's head, and that person gets suffocated to the point that he talks or cannot breathe, no longer breathe, and then obviously that we will, or they would obviously then ask him to talk to us, obviously to avoid this from taking place again. I entered the room and sat next to the suspect on the left-hand side of the bed. When Viandre stopped, I asked the suspect to tell me where the stolen stock was being kept. The suspect replied that he will show us. I picked up a wooden table leg that was broken from inside the room, held his legs down with it as to not touch him with my hands as he was wet. Viandre then continued tubing in with the one unknown Brakpan SAPS member, helping to hold him down, while the other was searching the drawers, etc. I got up and left the room. The other people were still searching the room. It was quite clear, or the house, my apologies, Commissioners. It was quite clear at this stage that the stock from a warehouse robbery was not in the house. As I entered the passage towards the kitchen, I saw one EMPD officer taking a bucket of water to the room where the suspect was being kept. In the kitchen, I found Kershaw Lee Stolz searching the cupboards. I walked out of the house and stood on the steps. A short while later, I walked back into the kitchen and found Kershaw Lee on her phone. She ended the call and shouted for everyone to move outside into the yard and went towards the second bedroom. As I moved towards the door, I noticed two unknown Brakpan SAPS members leaving the house in haste. One of them was carrying a small black sports bag. I exited the house. I was joined outside in the garden next to the truck by Kobus and the others. Shortly after this, Viandre and Kershaw Lee joined us. I asked whether the suspect talked, and Deandre responded that he will never ever talk again. A discussion between the law enforcement members then took place as to how to deal with the scene. Kershaw Lee tried phoning a paramedic to declare the suspect dead. Deandre approached me and informed me that he will phone General Feroz Khan to fix this. I in turn responded and said no, as this is Deandre's problem. He responded and said it's all of us in this, and if anyone talks, he will go to prison for killing them. I walked away from Deandre, and I walked away from Deandre, as myself and Deandre have had issues in the past. I saw Yaku Hanekom walking towards us. Yaku then informed myself and Deandre that the chief will come and sort out the issue. I noticed John Marie Ekstein, Zanner Fritz, and other members leading, including Kobus Jansen van Rensburg from Coast Guard, to go and look for a firearm to plant at this house.
Apologies, Witness D, you say that Yako informed all of you that the chief would come and sort out the issue. Do you know who he was referring to when he said the chief?
Commissioners, at that stage, I did not know who he was referring to. And as continued in my statement, I walked to the main gate after this was said, and after I noticed the members that I've mentioned walk away to go and get a firearm to plant.
Yes.
I walked to the main gate of the property and saw that my vehicle, which is a Ford Ranger, black in color, marked, was parked in by two marked EMPD vehicles, which prevented me from leaving at that point. It made me question the whole scenario and what was currently taking place. A short while after this, Chief Soup, Julius Mkwanazi, JD Mkhwanazi, arrived at the scene, and we were informed that this is the chief in a dark tracksuit of some sort.
At this time, apologies, Witness, at this time, did you know who Chief Superintendent Julius Mkhwanazi was?
It was my first time seeing him that evening, and then it was obviously when Yaku indicated to us that this is Mkhwanazi, Chief Soup Mkhwanazi.
Did you know what unit or institution he's aligned to?
From the system, I understood that he was EMPD or Metro Police.
EMPD, you say?
Yeah, or Metro Police, from the rank structure.
Thank you. You may continue.
Thank you, Commissioners. So Yaku Hanekom and Deandre addressed him as chief, and the Metro members, including Yaku, Kershaw, Etienne was with me at that stage. So the Metro members, they all had a meeting with the soup away from myself and Etienne. Shortly afterwards, they returned to where we were. JD Mkhwanazi said that we needed to throw the suspect's body into a mine shaft or dump it into a dam. As he said this, he looked at me. Deandre then in turn informed me that I must take the body and dump it. They will show me where and that I should relax. Since my vehicle is marked, Deandre said it won't attract any attention. I was directed by Deandre at this stage where to park my bakkie next to the front door. That is as you're coming from the main gate. I was escorted to my vehicle by two EMPD members and told where to park it. Yaku Hanekom essentially broke the gate to allow my vehicle entry into the property. I parked my vehicle at the designated spot and walked towards the main gate where I remained until they were finished.
Before you continue, Witness D, apologies, before you continue, you say that when Chief Superintendent Mkhwanazi said that the body should be thrown into a mine shaft or dumped into a dam,
yes.
You make the point of stating that when he said that, he looked at you. What did you interpret that to mean?
Commissioners, it was quite clear at this stage that it was expected from me to dispose of the deceased body. And as I said, it's especially after the meeting took place between themselves. It was quite clear that they decided between themselves that I'm the one that's supposed to dispose of the body.
And did you so agree?
I really didn't have a chance to agree. I felt like I was being forced. At this stage, I felt that I was being outnumbered, as the decision was made already, and we're dealing with a very serious and dangerous situation at this stage already.
Yes.
So I interpret it as if I don't comply, then I would probably be next.
Okay.
Vacancy law, just Mr. Moments.
Do I switch on
Do
the
I
mic?
switch on the?
Let's try that.
Let's try that.
Commissioner, perhaps if you mute on your screen, there might not be a feed.
Yes. Is it much better? Witness D, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Commissioner.
Yes. Up to this point, you referred to the other person as the suspect. Now, for the first
Yes.
time, you are saying it is the deceased. Can you just confirm for the commission how the deceased died, or how did the suspect die? Because up to this point, you were referring to him as the suspect, and you referred to that procedure that was used to torture him. Then you say now for the first time he's the deceased. So just confirm for us how he died.
Commissioners, I cannot attest to how the deceased passed away, as I was not present at that stage in the room. And also, we were not, when Viandre and Kershali's stalls came out of the house, we were not informed of how he died. It was merely from what Viandre said, which is he will never talk again. We arrived at the conclusion that, or myself arrived at the conclusion that the deceased is in fact deceased and no more.
Do you-
Witness.
You, in paragraph 14 of your statement, you said you found Viandre Pretorius body tubing the suspect, and then you describe body tubing as a process where a plastic bag is pulled over somebody's head and it is fastened around their neck in an effort to get them to talk. So let's just go back to paragraph 14. When you saw the body tubing taking place, can you confirm that the suspect was alive at that stage?
Commissioner, I'm at paragraph 14. I can confirm when I left the room,
Yes.
the deceased was still alive.
And then the next time you saw him, we are now later in your statement, he was already dead and you were being given instruction to dispose of the body. Witness D?
It's gonna be
Witness D, did you?
paragraph 27. I saw Yakuhane come and Viandre load the deceased. That's the first time that I saw him after the room, where they load the deceased onto my bakkie.
Thank you.
Witness D, when you saw him loaded onto the bakkie, did you see any physical injuries?
Commissioner, at this stage, I was standing at the main gate of the property, which is approximately 10, 15 meters away from where my bakkie was parked, close to the front door. So I could not see any visible injuries. And like I said, I made a point of it, not looking, when I went back to my vehicle, not looking at the deceased. I got into my vehicle, and as indicated, I was instructed to follow EMPD officer Aiden McKenzie, and Viandre followed behind me. So I made no attempt to look at the deceased.
When you do, and this is me, because I want to complete this question, we know from the statement that you do drive him and then you land up somewhere with him where you dispose of the body.
Yes.
At that point, did you see any physical injuries on him?
Commissioner, as I stated, I have not seen any physical injuries on him, even to the point where I disposed of him. I made a decision not to look at his face, eyes, or any particulars. As indicated from my statement, it was also very dark that evening where I was instructed to dispose of him. So there was no ambient light, and also I did not have a flashlight or anything with me. So literally just got the deceased by his feet, and I had to lift him over my shoulder, and that I was approximately 2 meters away from the dam, where I placed his feet into the water, because at this stage there was still my movements were still being monitored, and I placed the deceased with his back up towards, it was like the banks of the dam. So it was only his feet or his legs that were placed inside the water.
Witness D.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I was going to ask Witness D to perhaps take a step back, because there are other steps that are important to highlight before you get to the dam. I do appreciate that it was in an attempt to fully address the question posed to you by Commissioner Baloyi as to whether or not you ever saw any injuries on the body. But then to take you back to, you were at 27, when now the body is loaded into your car.
Yes.
If you could
Yes,
take
sir.
it from there and indicate who loaded the body into the back of your vehicle.
Okay, paragraph 27. Whilst I was waiting at my car, I saw Jaco, it's wrong there. Whilst I was waiting, I was actually at the gate. I saw Jaco Hannekom and Etienne van der Walt load household items into their vehicles. Etienne had his girlfriend of the time in another vehicle waiting for him that was parked on the outside of the property, an SUV type vehicle. And Hannekom was driving a red maroon Renault Kwid. After taking the household items, Viandre and Hannekom loaded the body onto my Ford Ranger, while Etienne was in and out of the house. I cannot recall who told me that they were cleaning the house. But after this, Mackenzie informed me that I must follow him and that Viandre will follow in a white Ford Ranger behind us.
Witness D, before you proceed, please go back to paragraph 27. I understood you want to make a change to the statement. Paragraph
Yes.
27 currently reads, whilst I was waiting in my car. You say that is not
No,
correct.
that is incorrect, Commissioner.
How should it read? Please indicate.
Well, I was at the main gate, as indicated in paragraph 26.
Yes.
Final wording in paragraph 26. I was at the main gate until they finished and indicated to me to come
Okay.
to my vehicle, where they, obviously upon completion of them loading the body or the deceased onto my vehicle.
Noted. That correction will be effected. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Advocate. So I'm proceeding with paragraph 28.
You are now at 28.
I got into my vehicle. My apologies. I got into my vehicle and took my cell phone and sent my wife a WhatsApp and informed her not to be alarmed, but that I was sending her my live location. And should she not hear from me in the next hour and a half, then she needs to phone the police. I followed Mackenzie all the way to Spaarwater Pan, just outside Nigel, where Mackenzie instructed me to dump the body of the suspect. I did as instructed and placed the deceased body's legs first into the water and let the rest of the body rest on the banks of the dam. I got back into my vehicle and drove towards the R23. At the R23 and R550 intersection, I received a call from a number I did not recognize. When I answered the call, I realized it was Constable XTN phoning me. She asked me if it's done, to which I replied yes. She said that I will see them on my way home, just before Carnival, the city, and I ended the call. Shortly after this, I saw SAPS vehicles, EMPD vehicles, and a red Renault Kwid. I realized that they were all parked on the side of Tinus de Jonge Road in Brakpan. I turned right towards them and parked right at the back of the parked vehicles. I got out and Kobus approached me and spoke to me and asked if I was okay. John Marie Extian wanted to know how deep I placed the body in the water, and I replied, on the side next to the bank. She then insisted that I go back to the dam where I dumped the body to check whether the body cannot be seen. I replied that I would not. The rest of them agreed that we should all go home. Zander, Viandre, John Marie and Yaku said they were going for drinks. I found this strange, as Zander had indicated to me earlier in the evening whilst we were in the house that he was struggling financially. They all said goodbye to each other and I was the last to drive off, fearing they might shoot at me. I got home the following day already, and burned my clothes and shoes that I was wearing. I informed my wife that I am safe. I then had a shower. Thereafter, I tried to sleep, which didn't happen as the events from the previous evening kept me up. Around 9 o'clock, around 7 o'clock in the morning, I started receiving phone calls from Kobus Jansen van Rensburg. The last phone call was around 9, where Kobus asked that we should meet at Wimpy, Dalview, which is also in Brakpan. He assured me that I indicated that I didn't want any issues. He assured me that there would be none. We met at the Wimpy, Dalview, close to 10 o'clock already. Kobus inquired about where I had placed the body and what the chances were of anyone finding it. I felt like he was asking on behalf of the others. He asked if I would go and show him where I had dumped the body and if we would go immediately. I explained to him that I did not have someone to look after my son as my wife was still in hospital. And again, Kobus persisted. And at this stage, as I indicated, it felt like he was acting on someone else's behalf, and I started becoming wary of the situation. So myself and Kobus did go to the location. When we got there, we noticed SAPS vehicles, LCRC vehicles unmarked at the location of where the body was dumped. At this stage, before this, Kobus had a lot of questions and was talkative. At this stage, this is where Kobus became very quiet, and we turned around and drove towards Wimpy Dalview, where my vehicle was located. I got out of his vehicle and went home.